welcome back to the We Care podcast. I'm Jordan Vaughn, nurse practitioner.
And I'm Molly Cooey, RN at We Care. And today's episode is one we're pretty passionate about. We are going to be talking about women in business, what it really looks like behind the scenes.
So I'll get started. When I opened We Care, I don't think people really realized how scary it actually was for me. Like everybody sees the growth now and the success now, but not the risk, the doubt, the what if this fails? What if it doesn't work?
And as women, there's typically, like an extra layer. It's not just about building the business. You're having to prove yourself too.
Exactly. And you have to prove that you can lead, you can make decisions, you can handle pressure. There's, so many things that you feel like you have to prove to people, all while they're watching you very closely.
Oh, yeah, waiting for you to fail.
Yes. And I feel like that's kind of the part that nobody really talks about. But when I first started We Care, it wasn't like just opening a business. It was stepping into something, that I dreamed about, and I'd really never seen it modeled before or seen anyone start a business really before. I came from, a family that worked for a company their whole life, both of them. So anyways, I was making decisions for, me. I was making decisions for my family. I was making decisions that were going to affect people that are not just my family, employees, patients, and then our finances. It was just so scary. And then at the same time, I was still a mom. I still had to come home to 4 kids and make sure that I could take care of them too, and a husband, and make sure that I could take care of him, all while trying to start this business. And I just remember thinking, like, can I do this? Is this, for me? I mean, most of the time for women, like, you're supposed to kind of be, it's thought of that you're more in the background, that men lead, not women lead. So I always kind of had been behind the scenes, and that was a new level for me, should I say. But John and I had that vision, and I knew that if I didn't step into it, no one was going to build it for me. I had to just stop asking, like, what if this fails? Is this going to work? And just know this is going to work.
So what do you think has been the hardest part as a woman in business?
Probably just learning to trust myself. I feel like early on I questioned everything.
Oh, yes. We second guess ourselves all the time.
Yes. And then, men, I feel like it's easy. They make a decision like that. And I feel like I got to think, and, I don't know if this is for me. But with John, he's like, we got this. We're doing this,
It's almost just like the confidence is on a different level, an innate level.
Yes. And I had to learn confidence comes from doing and not just waiting for you to be ready.
And then setting boundaries.
That's probably the biggest one for me, is boundaries.
Oh, yes. You are very guilty of not having strict boundaries. I will say that. You tend to overgive, and women in general tend to overgive. And then, time, energy, availability. I see it a lot.
I agree. And I feel like in business, if you don't protect that, and I had to learn this big time, you'll burn out really fast. And another challenge that, I think it doesn't get talked about enough is like the pressure to be liked. And I really struggled with that because I want to be everyone's friend. I want everyone to like me. I don't want to get on anyone's bad side. So I had to learn that you don't want to just be, liked or, respected. Right. You don't have to be liked by everyone. And
you don't have to be liked to be respected.
True. That's a good way to put it. But it can also, hold you back a little bit because being liked, you're not showing your leadership skills whenever you're constantly, trying to please everyone. And I just had to learn to say no to some people and choose between that, is this what's best for my business? Or is this what's best for a friendship? And that was a really, really hard thing for me, but it was necessary. I don't really know how to say this. Like, I feel like in business, you want to be friends with like all of your employees, and you want to be friends with everyone, but sometimes you just have to set that line in between. Like, I am your friend and I love you to death, but you're crossing a line that is hurting me and the business.
Right. It is tough because, really in any, employee or employer situation, you spend a lot of time at your job. So you do get to learn a lot about people that you work with. So it is tough sometimes those borders get blurred.
They do.
So let's talk about balance, because I feel like, that's a big issue too.
I mean, let's be honest, is balance really a thing?
Probably not.
I would say like there are seasons, there are days like that I'm a great business owner, but I've had to learn, that balance, it doesn't always mean like equal. I have to be intentional. There are times that the business needs me and that I am 100% there. And there are times that, my family needs more of me and I have to be 100% there. So I wouldn't say that, it's 50-50. Sometimes I have to be 100% here and sometimes I have to be, there. And I've had to learn just that I can't feel guilty about that. And I have to be present in whichever role that I'm needed in at the time. I can't do everything at once, and that is where that burnout comes in too.
Oh, yeah. I think we as women really put pressure on ourselves to try to do everything perfectly.
And you can't. I mean, something will always need you more in that moment.
Right. And it's okay to not be perfect.
Yep, it is. Just giving yourself, permission not to be perfect is okay. So I had to really grow into a whole different version of myself through We Care. I feel like the version that started this place is definitely not who I am today. I had to grow as a mom. I had to grow into a leader because I don't feel like that was something that I was very good at in the beginning. I wasn't very good at those hard conversations either. So I feel like I've really changed through business and, through We Care in general. And I feel like that's something that people need to hear. You do not have to have it all figured out in the beginning.
Right.
You can just grow with confidence with hard situations. There's a lot that goes into business that grows you as a person and that leader. And I feel like my mistakes are probably the biggest, thing that I learned from and how I've become a better business owner and leader.
Right. Sometimes you just can't learn how to handle a situation until you experience it yourself.
Absolutely. And I'll say too, like whenever I first started We Care, I wasn't strong in my faith. And I feel that the business has really pushed me closer, to God and leaning in on Him because I know I can't do it alone.
Right. So let's talk about team or building a team and support. So one thing I do admire about you is how you've built your team.
I would say that's the most important part of growth is, our team. Lord knows He brought me you in the middle of a storm. That was definitely like the hardest season. And if it wasn't for you and the teammates that He has brought to us, I don't know where We Care would be.
Right. You can't do it alone.
I can't, and I shouldn't, right?
Right.
It'll either elevate your business or it will completely crash your business if you don't have the right people on your team and supporting you. And then now with the primary care and adding Casey and now a new nurse practitioner, Lauren, in Rome, I just love seeing all the growth, and I feel like we have a great team.
Oh, yes. I already hear so much positive feedback on, adding Casey to the team. And then there's already so much positive feedback about adding Lauren because she's in my office in the Rome location. So it was a great decision all around. And it gave you more time to be a little more present in Rockmart too, which I know you were struggling with splitting your time between the locations.
Yes, absolutely. That balance.
Right. So I know another thing that we as women tend to struggle with is delegation.
I think I really struggle on that one. I feel like I need a hand in everything, or I need to make the decision for everything. And I don't. And you can't grow as a business if you don't find those other leaders within your team. Right. And that's what I appreciate so much about you. You've really taken the Rome office, and it's your baby, you know. You lead that office, and that takes so much off of me. And I know that We Care wouldn't be where it is without, you know, building other leaders within the company.
I love my little baby.
Yes.
So, but, you know, with growth, it does require, you know, letting go, like you said, and, you know, trusting everybody around you. So I know I struggle with delegation at times too. And it, like you said, it's hard. You want to be in the know of everything too.
Yes. Which will at least keep me in the know.
Right. We do. So if you could give one piece of advice to a woman that's wanting to start something, what would it be?
If there's one thing that I would want women to take away from this, you do not need permission to go after what you're called to do. You do not have to have permission to build something meaningful. You don't have to have it all figured out when you get started. And you don't have to wait on the right time. It doesn't have to feel perfect. You just have to feel that pull, the vision, have that idea, and there's a reason for it, so go for it.
Love that. That's so good.
Yes, I always say, put your yes on the table. God, you know, gave you that thought or that, you know, need for a reason. Just put your yes on the table.
I remember that from one of our first episodes.
Yes.
So my suggestion would be stop comparing your beginning to someone else's middle.
Yes.
So everyone sees our highlight reels.
Absolutely.
But not everybody sees the hard days that we deal with too. And those hard days, they are part of the process.
They sure are. Well, I really hope that this episode encourages some of our listeners, whether you're already in business or thinking about getting started. And if you are, just know that you are not alone in this.
Yes. And if you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to subscribe, share this episode, and follow We Care Health and Wellness for more education and behind the scenes content. And don't forget that at the end of the day,
we care.